Hello everyone, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of CivilianTacticalWeapons.com. I also want to remind everyone that if you have any questions, please write them to info@CivilianTacticalWeapons.com. Don't want to confuse anyone with the different firearms I have on today's episode. This will be a discussion of different types of ammo. So mainly we're going to cover the three most popular rounds that are used in handguns: 9mm, 40 cal, and 45. If I look at I get about 10 to 15 emails a day, and if I look at a majority of the types of questions I get, I might try to start modifying some of these things to at least have one segment a month based on what a lot of people ask about. So people have asked about a lot of what should I get for a first-time pistol, what type of caliber, stuff like that. So what I really do is cover the different types of ammo and kind of what I recommend for beginner, intermediate. I get a lot of questions, male, female. So let me start off with this. First of all, I'll just tell you real quickly, and I'll actually have features on each of these guns, so I'm not going to cover them in too much great detail. We'll start off with a 9mm Glock. It's a Glock 17. I've got a Walther P99 and a 40 cal. Of course, just like the Glock, this comes in multiple calibers too. And I have the 40 caliber model. And then I've got the USB Compact 45, which I've mentioned in previous episodes. So when people are asking, it's like, hey, look, I want to get my first pistol, what should I get? Maybe I've been shooting before, I don't really know what to get. I'm a strong believer that, first of all, for female shooters, I recommend you start off with a 9mm. Do not go with anything smaller than a 9mm. Another popular caliber is a 380. I see a lot of women try 380s. 9mm is just a little bit more than a 380, but it's a very manageable recoil. 9mm is very cheap, so even if you are a guy and you have a very limited fund, keep in mind that if you are shooting 9mm, you will be shooting a fraction of what 45 costs. In this day and age, where you're looking at a lot of expenses, firearms are a very expensive hobby, and you can easily get sucked into it pretty deep. So if I look at the average box of 9mm, at least in the state of Texas, you can pick this up for about anywhere from 12 bucks, right around $12 for a box of 50 regular FMJ, target shooting type ammo. The 45 averages around $18 to $19. So you're looking at anywhere, about 70%, 60% more possibly. I mean, it varies. And then if you want to get some very high grade 45 caliber, this can be very expensive. But if we're talking myself personally, I started off with 9mm. Actually, this Glock 17 was the very first firearm I've ever purchased. I went from there, after shooting 9mm for quite a long time, I decided I want to try 40 cal, and we'll cover this Walther P99, especially with the new Bond movie coming out. And then from there, I kind of made the jump to 45, and I've fallen in love with 45 now. So personally, I only buy pistols in 45 caliber now. This is a personal decision. Firearms come down to what you are most comfortable with, and what you're trying to do is get the size of the caliber of what you can manage very comfortably. If you start off with 9mm, 9mm has a very manageable recoil. It's very inexpensive to shoot as far as going down to the range. And as far as a starting caliber style gun, 9mm is excellent. However, 40 cal is, some people may say, is not quite as accurate as 9mm. My opinion is it's as accurate as you are comfortable with. Strangely enough, I can take this 40 cal pistol and outshoot this 9mm pistol. It's a 40 cal is a little faster bullet. It's a little bigger, so it does have some better stopping power. So if we're talking about home defense rounds, as far as for women, and I don't want this to be a sexist show or anything. I mean, keep in mind there are plenty of women out there who are big enough to kick my ass. So if we're talking about just what's comfortable with you, The average woman, this is can actually go up to a 40 cal. I know that there's a lot of women I've taken shooting have been apprehensive about going to a 40 cal, and then they've fired 40 cal and had absolutely no problems with it. So you do not have to, this is not a unmanageable recoil. It's a little bigger bullet. It has more stopping power. It can be used at a greater distance, but it does cost a little bit more. 40 cal running about the $14 to $15 a box of 50. Then we go to 45. This is where some women may have problems with 45. I strongly encourage every woman to shoot 45 at least once. The misconception of how much recoil this has may not affect you at all. So you may want to go ahead and look into this. Personally, I actually can shoot better with 45 than 9mm, mainly because I shoot 45 more often and I'm used to the recoil of a 45. 9mm has very little recoil. I'm not used to it. It's a smaller gun in my hand. The 45 cal tends to work a lot better. 45 has the best trauma ballistics. If you're a guy, you want something for home defense, you need to get a 45. 40 cals and 9mm are excellent for range guns because they are cheaper to shoot. So if you're cash strapped and you want to really get into this as a beginning hobby, I recommend for most people to actually try a 40 cal gun. Also, what you want to do is also each gun manufacturer's 40 cals are different. A Glock, an H&K in a 45 cal feels very similar to a Walther in a 40 cal. It all depends on how much money you're spending on the gun. This is a much more expensive gun than either of these two. In fact, the cost of this gun, you can actually buy these two guns together. So keep in mind you get what you pay for. If you are wanting a larger caliber gun, do not expect to buy a 45, do not expect to buy a high quality 45 for $300 and be accurate with it. It's not going to happen. There are a lot of junk 45s out there. You need to really invest some serious money if you want something that is going to shoot very accurately. So, that being said, for most women, I'd like most women to at least consider 40 cal. At a bare minimum, don't need to do anything smaller than 9mm unless it's a concealment issue. But even that being said, there are plenty of 9mm guns that are easily concealable. For men, I don't care what you're looking at, you should at least fire 45, try it out. It's very good. If cost is an issue and you need a target gun, definitely go down to 40 cal. In my mind, a 40 cal, if you are a first-time shooter and you're looking for something also for home defense, you should really consider 40 cal. Male or female, doesn't matter. Try it out. There are plenty of 40 cal models out there. If you like Glocks, you can get them in 40 cal. Every manufacturer offers a 40 cal, so that is not an issue. But that's all for today's episode. I just want to go ahead and clarify that. If you guys have any more questions on this topic, please email me at info@civiliantacticalweapons.com. And I hope to hear from you, and also I hope you tune in for the next episode.